Okay, so I don't want to take wait too much longer since I know everybody's got stuff they're, I'm sure, getting on with today. So we're going to go ahead and just kick things off. My name is Megan Anderson. I am the account executive for Wyndon Stark GQR at Ethos Benefits. We handle all your fun employee benefits, the insurance, all that jazz. So my team here is Mickey Parker and Corey Drain. They are some that you'll interact with as well. You'll either, sometimes hear from me or one of the two other ladies as well. So it's a great team. We're happy to help you guys anytime that you have questions. And so, but we did decide as a team with your benefits team at Wyndon Stark that it would be great to start some of these little benefits 101 webinars for kind of common things that we see that are good ideas or questions that come up a lot or things like that. So the first one we decided with the timing would be taking advantage of your calendar year deductible, okay? And so we're going to dive into that today because with the end of the year coming up, this is really a important topic to cover right now. So if anybody has any questions throughout the process, just if you want to hit the raise hand button, if you want to ask it out loud, we can unmute you, or you can put it into the chat or Q&A. Mickey and Corey will be kind of monitoring those so that we can make sure to answer any of your questions. And then also, just as a note, this is being recorded. So we are going to have this available to you to watch back if you have, if you ever want to reference back to it at any point in time, okay? So we'll go ahead and get started. So let's just start off with the basic question. What is a deductible, okay? So essentially your deductible is just going to be the amount you have to pay out of pocket before your insurance kicks in. You do have the insurance there. It's getting you a contracted rate the whole time, but there is that upfront part that you're going to pay out of pocket before the real quote benefits kick in, okay? So it is going to be those covered medical expenses. So let's talk about what those are. Here are some of the expenses that do go towards your medical deductible. So the first ones are going to be applicable only if you're on that HDHP plan. Those are going to be your office visits and prescriptions cost. Otherwise, you have a copay, and that that's just your copay. It doesn't go towards your deductible. But things like an MRI, CAT scan, outpatient surgery, if you have a hospital stay, any of that stuff, there's a whole host of things, right, that go towards your deductible. But these are just a few of them to give you kind of an idea. And again, anytime you guys have questions, just, let us know. We'll hop in and help you out. Okay, so then let's talk about your deductible. So your deductible, depending on your plan that you have, could be, anywhere from $66.50 up to or down to $500, okay, for the year. And that, once you've met your deductible or you're close to it, this is the perfect time to start looking at some of the things you might have been putting off. So maybe you've been having some back issues and your doctor wants you to get an MRI, but you know that it's going to cost, a small fortune. So you've been putting it off. Or maybe you hurt your knee playing sports in high school and your doctor said, hey, we need to get this surgery done. Okay. It'll help you in the long run. In those cases, this is the perfect time to start looking at getting those scheduled before the end of the year. Okay, so we'll start talking about why. So depending on which plan you're currently on, the numbers are going to be different, but the process works the same. You first meet your deductible through non-copay expenses. Then the insurance kicks in and you're only responsible for either, copays, if it's, a doctor visit or something like that, or your co-insurance. So depending on the plan, that's either going to be 20% or 0% of the cost of those services, okay, until you've hit your out-of-pocket max. So what does that look like? What does that mean in real world situation? Say you need an MRI. This is actually based on a real experience that I had earlier in the year. And so say that you've already met $5,500 of your deductible. If you're on the mid plan, your deductible is $6,000, right? So you have that $500 left. That's kind of a gap. But your doctor says, hey, we've been talking about this for a while. You've been having back pain for a while. Let's get an MRI. Let's get it checked out. Let's see if we can find anything that's going on, underneath it all. So you were to get that MRI, and say the MRI, the contracted rate for that is going to be $2,800. Okay. Since you're on that mid plan, the one that has the $6,000 deductible, and you've met $5,500 of that so far, you're going to, pay that remaining $500, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas is going to pick up the remaining $2,300. And this is where it becomes really important to see kind of the difference between your plans, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But the important part is knowing that once you've hit your deductible, the insurance really starts to kick in. That's when you really start to get the benefit of it, okay? So I know this is going to be a question that a lot of people ask because we're talking about deductibles. Well, what if you have family coverage? Because we're talking at this point up so far about just that $6,000, individual deductible. So your coverage still works the same, but each member of the family has their own individual bucket, if you will, that works as their own individual deductible. Once that family member reaches their deductible on their own, they then move to that co-insurance phase, this phase right here. And so then once they're there, they get that co-insurance for the rest of the time until they've met their out-of-pocket max. Then other people are still working on their part of the co-insurance, okay? So if the spouse is working on their part of the deductible, the child's working on their part of the deductible until they reach that themselves. Each person has their own bucket. Once they've met it in their bucket, then they move on and start getting that, added benefit of the co-insurance phase. And again, that co-insurance phase can be, depending on which plan you're on, up to 100% of a procedure or testing or anything like that covered after you've met that deductible, okay? And so if you're wondering, what does that look like? We're going to look at the plan specifics now, okay? So on the HDHP plan, this is what's called what we would consider a true 100% plan. So you've met your $6,650 deductible. Everything, your out-of-pocket max is also $6,650, so you're all set. Everything's covered. If it's a covered medical service, then it's covered for the rest of the year, okay, at full cost. For the mid plan, you have that $6,000 deductible, okay? You're going to continue paying your co-pays after you've met your deductible, but everything else that's a covered medical expense, that's going to be covered in full. So if you go to the doctor, you're still going to pay your doctor copay, right? But if you were to go and have surgery, that's not a copay procedure. So you would be getting the full benefit then from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, okay? You're going to get that until you've reached your out-of-pocket max of $7,900. So in this case, I think that one of the big questions, that we get a lot in this situation is, well, if the covered medical expenses are covered at 100%, how do I, still have an out-of-pocket max of $7,900? That's because your copays are still adding to that. So those copays for doctor visits, for prescriptions, things like that, those still add to that out-of-pocket max until you've reached that $7,900. Once you reach $7,900, you're all set. That's it. No more copays, no more, co-insurance, nothing like that. And then finally, on the high plan, once you've met your $500 deductible, you're going to continue, again, paying copays, but all other covered medical expenses will be covered at 80% by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, and you'll pay 20% until your total out-of-pocket has hit that $3,000 out-of-pocket max. So a little bit different across the three different plans, but it all kind of works the same way. You want to hit that deductible, then you can get these other, procedures, more expensive things like that. And then those are going to be covered at whatever your co-insurance amount is. So HDHP plan, that's 100% co-insurance. Mid plan, also 100% co-insurance. The high plan is going to be the 80% co-insurance, okay? So those are the important things to remember based on which plan you are currently enrolled in, okay? So the big question in that is, why is that so important right now? Why does that matter right now? Well, that's because your contribution to the deductible, so how much you've built up so far this year, that's going to reset January 1. So you really want to think about what can I do? You know, there are so many things that this could apply to. You know, it could be getting labs done, or you know, just simple things that you know you hadn't really thought about, and you know, but hey, I've already met my deductible. Let's go ahead and do it. You know, things like that that will help you make the most of it so that you don't have to wait once you hit January 1. That surgery that would, you know, January 1st cost you $6,000 could be covered in full instead. So you just want to, and we want to start thinking about it now, because some of these things, the MRIs, the surgeries, those types of things, those take time to schedule, right? So now is the time to start thinking about it, start talking about it with your doctor. Even if you're close to your deductible, you haven't necessarily met it yet. If you're in that range where it would still be beneficial, take a look at it. Take a look at how much you've met on your deductible. We're happy to help you, get to the bottom of what you've met on your deductible if you aren't sure. And then you can, use that information to decide kind of what you want to do the rest of the year for your healthcare. Okay. So that's kind of it on a broad scale. Okay. I didn't want to dive too deeply into everything because I know, there's probably going to be a lot of questions and things like that. So I'm going to open it up for questions at this point. And I think, ladies, if you're able to, okay, so CJ, I see you. I'm going to go ahead, and you can unmute yourself if you want to go ahead and ask your question, CJ.
Are you sure you want to let me unmute myself?
I mean, I don't know. Don't make me regret it.
No, so I want to know the HDHP plan. Is that the one that allows us to save to the what's it called? HSA?
The HSA, correct. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So if you have an HSA, if you're currently contributing to it, then you're on that HDHP plan. So those are kind of one and the same. So you can be on the HDHP plan and not be contributing to the HSA, but that is the plan that allows you that ability.
Right, because I can't be on any other plan and contribute to the
Correct.
HSA, correct? Okay.
Correct.
But I can be on, as far as an FSA is concerned, I can be on any of them.
You can be on any of them, but you cannot contribute to both an HSA and an FSA at the same time.
Correct. But I can contribute to an FSA being on the high plan.
Correct. Yes.
Right. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah. And y'all, this doesn't have to just be question. I mean, obviously we're here to talk about the calendar year deductible, but if you have other questions that you think might benefit everybody, send them on out. We'll answer them. So don't be shy. I'm not one to embarrass you, I promise. Ladies, have we had any in the chat or anything? No? Okay. So I guess, we can chat a little bit more about what are some of the common things that, questions people might have. So actually, let me see here. I'm also going to I know Connie had some good ideas. So Connie, if you want to jump in with any thoughts that you have on questions, I've given you the option to unmute, no pressure. But I know we kind of talked about some of the things that, a lot of people might have questions on. The big one was that family deductible. I know that can sometimes be a little confusing. It's just important to remember that, if you do have dependents on your coverage, you each have your own bucket that you're filling, okay? And once you've filled your bucket, you get the benefit of, your co-insurance now kicking in, okay? So, don't think that just because you haven't hit that total, I think on the mid plan, it's 15,000, I think. The HDHP, it's 13,000 for the family. Just don't think that just because you haven't hit that total number that you can't get the benefit. If you've hit that 6,000 or 6,650 on your own, then you can get the benefit of, using your co-insurance at this point. Any other questions? I think Connie mentioned in the chat, and I'll kind of touch on this a little bit, that you do have the option if you are enrolled in the HSA. Yes, that's correct, for the limited purpose, but those can't be used for medical expenses. So those are used only for like dental and vision services. That's correct. Any other questions from anybody? You can type them in the chat. You don't have to, I won't make you talk. Okay. Well, always, I've got the email here up on the screen. You also can always give us a call. Benefits are effective 5/1. That's the answer CJ asked. And so even though your benefits are effective 5/1, your like renewal date, if you will, the calendar year is when those are the deductibles reset. And let's see. Hunter asked, when can we enroll in an FSA? That's going to be January 1 effective, and we're actually working on that enrollment right now. I'll wait till Connie's ready to talk more about that. But that'll, I'm sure, be going out soon for everybody to get enrollment ready on that. Anybody else? Again, it doesn't have to be calendar year deductible related. It could be any benefit question. I even know the answers to some football questions. So,
hey, can you talk on the with Blue Cross Blue Shield? We have that benefit advisor.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that? We had a question about that this week.
Yes. So we have through Blue Cross of Texas, there is what's called a benefits advisor. And so essentially this is going to be somebody that can help you really understand. I mean, I don't want to make it just sound like what it is, but it kind of is an advisor of your benefits, right? So they can help you answer questions about what's covered, what services are covered. They can help you get to the bottom of kind of what your cost would be. They can, I believe they even can help you set appointments if you're trying to make sure that you're getting to an in-network physician, those types of things. So they're kind of like a concierge a little bit of, helping you make sure that you're getting the most out of your benefits and having a real understanding of what your specific plan covers and, who it's covered through. So if you want, like I said, network providers, things like that, that are, they're there to help you kind of guide through all that. And it's, we have it on, I believe on TrueHue, the information on that, but I can add that information to Employee Navigator for you guys and the contact information for the benefits advisor on Blue Cross. Because that is a really good resource, actually. It's somebody that they really know the ins and outs and how to get it all done for you. Anything else for anybody?
If anybody has a topic they'd like to hear from, we're going to try and do these on a quarterly basis. But if there's something you'd rather hear from or something you're interested in, you could certainly send that either in this chat message here or email benefits@gqrgm.com. We'll be happy to take your suggestions.
Yes. Yeah, and like Connie said, we're wanting to kind of get this going so that you guys can have a forum for these, discussions and things. Connie, Mary asked about info on 401k and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a different group of folks, Mary, but there will be additional information coming once our blackout period is over.
Perfect. So Tyler, your question, if you switch plans on 5/1, essentially what you have built up so far for the year, it does carry over. So if you've already paid, say, $3,000, towards the plan you were on from 1/1 to 4/30, that will carry over into the 5/1 plan. So yes, it does kind of roll over, if you will. Anything else? Well, we'll hang out here for a minute and just keep an eye on the chat and answer any questions that come in. Obviously, y'all are welcome to duck out if you don't have any questions, or you can hang around and see if there's anything, you know, else that comes up that you think might be useful. Like Connie said, we'd love to hear your input on topics that you'd like to learn about, and things to do with your benefits that you might be interested in knowing more. You know, we have some ideas that we have kind of cooking, but obviously you guys are the ones we're doing this for. So knowing what you guys want to know would be super awesome. I used to be a teacher, guys, so I'm totally used to the awkward silence when you're waiting for people to ask questions and things. Kids are really good about that. So Stephanie, I believe they do. I will get confirmation on that though. Stephanie asked about the Blue Cross Fitness program. Let me get confirmation on that and I'll reach out to you, okay?
Well, if nobody has any other questions, we can go ahead and give people 6 or 7 minutes back in their day. We appreciate
Perfect.
your attendance. Ethos team, we appreciate you guys also for leading this and being available for our questions.
Okay, great. Well, thank y'all so much. We appreciate you. And again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to us at service@ethosbenefits.com or out to your benefits team at GQR or Wyndon, okay? We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.